Hey guys, so I'm trying something new. I've been a big fan of Destiny since I started playing approximately since Black Armory, and I've played a lot of Destiny since then. I have around 3.5k hours just on Steam, bunch more on Battle.net. I consider myself more of a casual player. I I have done raids, but I don't do them on a regular basis. Much prefer playing with friends. I go to LFG only like as a last resort. I've done dungeons, soloed a bunch of them, and yeah. So that's since the new expansion has dropped. Bungie's made some fundamental changes to the way game is played. So I thought I'd give my 2 cents on that. So, with that, let's get into it. First, gonna go over the story. Fantastic. I loved the story. Story was everything that like you could expect for like the start of something new. They they really made sure that they asked a lot more questions than they answered, which is what you want, and they were the right kind of questions. Like makes you so much more, uh, like it gets you so much more invested in the setting and like what's going on. Like we defeated the witness. Now what? What do we do as guardians? And now we gotta prevent extinction. From what? We don't know. Why? What's happening? But that's what we want. So, more like a bit more specific sense, like Ikora was voiced by Savathun's VA. Forgotten her name, but it was a bit jarring at first. But
You're up, Guardian. Let's clear this sector as
as like we went on, she did a fantastic performance. I'd say that like, damn, that was good. It was like the emotion. You could tell that like she was pissed. She was real pissed, and like we really got it. Yeah, jarring at first, but like fantastic. Um, I Lodi. Lodi was great character. I mean, he's a great character. I really like the way they kind of essentially introduced a guy into Destiny, or at least as a guy as it gets, because like he works at a secret what or a secret foundation, or what's it called? Um, like the FBI or something. No, was it the DEA? No, I don't remember. But yeah, he's about as normal as a guy can get in the Destiny universe if he's going to play a major role. And he's like they did a brilliant job with him. It was like great. I'd imagine that that is how someone would react to if they just got yeeted through time into like the distant future with no way of going back. I mean, it was very realistic the way they really like the voice acting was fantastic. Um, he did a wonderful job, like expressing how someone might feel if they like just got displaced in time with no way back. So yeah, Auron is one of my favorite characters so far. The way she's kind of like I mean, it's a bit sad, but the way she's kind of like addled and doesn't really like is still adjusting to the third dimension being a bit more timey-wimey. So yeah, and I mean, like I just love her accent. Just one of the best. Um, the story was, like I said, fantastic. I do feel like the Fallen were the weakest link over there. The stuff with Maya, like all that, like stuff was really great. The weakest link were probably the Fallen. The Ionians, I feel like we just got here, so there's not much to say about that. We don't know much about them. We're still learning, and that's like part of the story. I haven't like finished all the side quests yet, so I think yeah, it's Ionians are fine. Fallen, I feel, were the weakest, like being the sort of main antagonists of the story felt it felt a bit like the threat was overblown in a way. Like I know we're going to like win in the end and stuff like that, but it felt like we had no idea who this guy was. Like there was not, I don't know. Like I honestly can't explain, but it to me it felt a bit weak. So yeah, that's pretty much it I have to say about the story. Otherwise, it was just fantastic. I really did enjoy like shooting Fallen and shit. So I mean, it didn't really take away anything for me personally, but I feel like after like Witch Queen, Final Shape, and all that, like with having like really weighty villains, it felt a bit weaker then, and there's nothing wrong with that. The new story, new villains gonna come, so it's yeah, like sorry, fantastic, top notch. Now the the main meat and potatoes. Oh wait, no, the campaign, right? I I honestly didn't have any issues with Matter Spark, the way it was, like with the whole like turning and shit, or the full 360 spin. But I felt like the Matter Spark forced sections where like you had to destroy the people's shields were a bit too long. If it was just like a gimmick, then I would have been more fine with it. And by gimmick, I mean um, like you do it for a few seconds, like a group of ads or like one guy that you need to change, that you need to like explode on. But yeah, that was like I felt like those sections were a bit too long. Apart from that, I I felt like the like that timed mission where you had to like there's a time limit and you pick up the like you gotta really slay out to kind of not fail. That was fantastic. We need more missions like that. It really engages you. And the other missions were fine. I felt like it was a bit easier, but that just might be because of like I had like a full ass build. And yeah,
All the dark matter tech we discovered
it
on
was
Capcom
great.
vibrant
Otherwise,
engineering
puzzles were
platforms.
fine.
They know that even with
I think
Paracosmos
like
building,
Dato said in one
we
of his
still need
videos, it's kind of
technological
like
advancements to
a
see
lot
us
of it
through
was just
that.
kind of like find the
Watching you work
hole,
out there today convinced me that
which
you're the
is
best
just
person to test
okay,
their new
but
generation of material.
uh,
Keep an eye
could
out for their
could be
invitation, and we'll make
a bit
sure you
better.
get the newest gear first.
Yeah, moving on from campaign gameplay to campaign. To general gameplay. Let's talk about the portal, which we shall be returning to in a few seconds. Let's go. The portal. I'll talk about, like, I have some words about Kepler and the like mythic difficulty, but let's go through the portal first. Portal is fantastic. I really do like it. I do wish that they, like, these are fine, but like we need another like ops, which is um like with all the raids and dungeons, so that like you have a list of, so we can do more shit. And like doing a dungeon should give me powerful gear, whichever like the featured dungeon is at the time, and there should always be a featured dungeon. I know the featured raid is what, Desert Perpetual, but yeah, right now we should have 2 featured raids and 2 featured dungeons at all times, just like in the past, and that is fantastic. We should just add them to the portal. Let it give us at least more powerful gear. So apart from that, portal, great. This needs to be added to the world at some point. We need it somewhere here. Just like throw it on there. Just throw this thing over here, and then it'll be fantastic, top notch. I've really enjoyed it. Got really no complaints. Now, coming to the things I do have a problem with is the difficulty, specifically about the world tiers. Fabled, I haven't really gone to Fabled, so I don't know. I think like I haven't really spent much time there, so like it seems okay, but Mythic is just too much. I have played at whatever 50 power delta in solo ops. Where is that? Where is solo ops? In solo ops. So like sometime where Bungie enabled you to do master stuff even before you were ready. I tried it. I was like at around 250. So 246, I believe. I tried it, and I was still dealing more damage than I was on Fabled. So I don't know whether Fabled is bugged or there's some like extra health that has been given to the enemies. Okay, yeah, they do have more health, right? But okay, stupid. But yeah, that is just so much more. Like for example, if we just head in right now over here, I'll show you one example of the bosses just have way too much health. The ads have way too much health. It's crazy. Like one thing is, and I'll get to this later, that primaries in such difficulties feel useless. I feel like I'm hitting the enemies with fucking wet noodles. And that's not great. So the example I'd like to give is this. I don't know if it's this one or this one. Uh, both of them, really, technically all of them. But there are boss fights to get the Strangelet capsules. I don't think it's possible on solo for someone like me. I'm sure like Salt or somebody could do it with their loadout swappings and hyper optimized builds, but for like a regular person at level, you need to do it with the fire team. And that's I don't think it should be like that. Either this is bugged and things have way too much health, or we just shouldn't be playing at a 50 power delta. Or even if like at 200 it is a 50 power delta, let us like reach, like make it 250 and say, or like make it 400 and say, Okay, but like once you reach 400, you can do this easier. It rewards us with getting more power by giving us more power. So that this power stat is not just for loot like it is right now. It's pretty much okay, you have more power, it's it's for but that power is not for power. Like it's not about becoming more strong. It's about the ability to get more loot, which is okay on a level, but I'd rather that like okay, now I'm playing this at like what a 20 power delta, which is fine. I'm okay with that. It wasn't that difficult. You saw like I was able to kill shit pretty easily. Um, but that's because I do have a functioning build, and the armor. I'll get to that later again. Nobody should be fighting at a 50 power delta. That either it's bugged or like I don't know. I feel like something's wrong with Mythic Kepler. It's just crazy. Now, on that note, the modifiers. I let's go to Caldera. Yeah, I really like this menu. It's fair. I love it. I do feel that we need to add another modifier that is just for power. Like right now, the challenge modifiers also increase the power of the combatants. There should be another like tab with just that just like says okay, increase the power of combatants by a certain amount. The way I do it is now this like will I will go like I'm just going to go on a slight side tangent from the modifiers. It's the power grind. The power grind is too slow right now. Okay, and at least up till 400. If say like I'm doing a Caldera, which is supposed to take around let's say 5 minutes on the low end for normal people, and it gives me a +1. Okay, say a +1 piece of gear. If that's the case, that will take me around 134 hours to get from 200 to 400. That's 8 8,000 minutes, 134 hours, or approximately like 12 days. And that's of like 12 days of just doing solo ops or whatever. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of time. And that's a bit too slow. Now I know that like you can increase the power, but like that's like okay, I get 290. I need to do 5 runs of 290 to get to 290, right? Because not 5, I need to do 8 runs. And once I get to 290, that number is going to go down. That's because I'm playing at 20 under at base. Each time, you got to keep increasing it. And who knows, like once I hit 300, right? This is going to give like I'm going to have to put more time into like I'm going to have to like put more modifiers to get an A, and it still won't give me a plus. What is this? 8 power up. Probably going to be like 1 or 2, and that's going to be far more difficult. Like to keep leveling up essentially. So yeah, that that needs to be handled. Now, I know a lot of people have been grinding. I know it's been ironic if it was the salt mines, wasn't it? If the like caldera is the thing, but the problem is that it's less efficient. So solo ops gives one completion reward. Okay, fine, that's 5 minutes. The problem is that these also give one completion reward. for 10 to 15 minutes. I feel fireteam ops should give 2 completion rewards at base. Now, what I'm suggesting is that, say, for example, you have 1 completion reward, right? So your power modifier, the extra modifier over there, lets you play at a certain delta, right? So at that delta, like say, suppose you're 10 under, you get, or like 20 under, you get 2 rewards. At 30 under, you get 3 rewards, right? 40 or under, you get 4 rewards, all powerful, or like basically 4. This would say 4. At like a 20 power data, this would say 2. 40 power data, that would say 4. Now, another that would give you more rewards, and that would allow people to kind of get like do more things rather than just Caldera. Now, yes, of course, people will still um, move to the like they'll always find the most efficient thing and keep grinding that, which is okay. Fire team, like same for fire team. Let's go to, like say at master, like you get so at base you should get 2 rewards, and then you increase the power. Say like you're at a 20 power delta, you get 3 rewards. Like you get an extra reward essentially for playing underpowered, and the more underpowered you are, the more rewards you get. This would mean that people who are able to complete harder stuff faster will still get more loot. But that doesn't mean that people who would like an easier time don't get loot. And yeah, now the next thing about this is that I feel like the challenge modifiers, basically essentially all these three modifiers should affect your tier of loot. So say like you have so at like advanced you get tier 1 loot. You add 4 banes or whatever. Wow, takes so much. Jeez. Wait, I can't even lock loadouts in this? Okay. Anyway, we go to expert. We have locked loadouts. And so essentially for each modifier that we apply, it increases the bar. And at certain breakpoints, it upgrades the loot from tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3 to tier 4. At lower levels, you can't hit tier 3 and tier 4. Okay? So like say you need to be master to hit, like to get enough modifiers to hit tier 4 or tier 3. And at grandmaster, you need that many modifiers to hit tier 4. That way, it's like it's a more fun difficulty compared to like like you just increase the combatant level. They now one shot you, and then it takes 5 years to kill them with all your weapons. Like you empty your full like heavy and super into them, and you've done 1% of their health as damage. That's not like fun difficulty. The Banes are fun difficulty. Banes are fun difficulty. These, like, there should be like one modifier which just says, okay, fuck it. Every combatant has a Bane, or just like put all the Banes in there. That would be a lot of fun. And, or maybe not, I don't know. Maybe it'd be really annoying. But I feel like that would be a more fun difficulty compared to, oh yeah, now I'm just trying to increase the combatant level. And that's what gives me my, like, the reward score. These charge modifiers should not have like a combatant power modifier. That should be completely separate. That should determine how many rewards you get, like how much rewards, the amount of rewards. While these modifiers, the challenger modifiers, player stakes, and boons and event modifiers, these should determine what the quality of reward is. So the more you put on, the higher tier you get. And of course, only the later like tiers, like Grandmaster and Master, where you can reach, where you can put on enough modifiers to reach tier 3 and tier 4 loot. Tier 5, I'm going to say, is going to be like a chance drop. It's going to be really rare to like sort of keep the prestige. So tier 5 will never have guaranteed drops, but you can increase your chances getting them by adding more modifiers. From what I understand, this is like the feat system for the new raid. So that would be great in 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 like regular play. So I, as a like mostly solo player, two of my friends have just like recently come back in. I would still be able to get tier 5 gear if I sort of like, okay, I play Grandmaster, like once I reach 400, I can play Grandmaster, put in all the modifiers and be like, yeah, let's fucking go. At least I'll get tier 4s. I know I'm going to get tier 4s. Then like it's not locked to your fucking power level, which is, it's not a power level anymore. It just becomes a loot level. This is not 282 power, it's 282 loot. And that gives me the ability to get, what, tier 2s still? I get the fact, like, I understand having Guardian ranks give you higher loot from, like, in-between stuff, but I'm talking about, like, not in-between stuff. Not passive gain of loot. Like, active loot should be influenced by the modifiers that you put in. Now, with that out of the way, we can get into the armor stats. I hope I was pretty clear with what my ideas for the portal is. I also think that would address a lot of people's frustrations with, okay, let's, like, grinding Caldera is the most efficient thing to do. This would give you more options, essentially, with one, potentially better rewards or more rewards, depending on how you choose to play, essentially. Now, on the loot itself, tiered loot is good. I agree with it. Tier 3 is, I feel like with armor specifically, right now, it's not great at all. We need more archetypes. I have quite a few builds that I've essentially ditched entirely because there's no way I'm going to get a Mantle of Battle Harmony with Gunner and Super, essentially, weapons and Super, which is what I need for this exotic, and like builds that I'd like to make with that, but that's not available right now. So it's a bit like we need to be able to, like, more archetypes need to be put into the game as soon as possible. Is that a 75? Okay, no, okay. So yeah, that's right now. I assume I do hear that they plan to, like, Bungie plans to put in more archetypes, but they need to put that in sooner rather than later. On top of that, exotics should be tier 4. There's, like, tier 2 is just, they're just too few stats. Exotics should be tier 4. It would also kind of, like, with a chance to be tier 5. Like, you could get a tier 4 exotic or you could get a tier 5 exotic, which means that exotics are, like, they're more coveted, like, you want them more. And you also have a chance to get, like, a really good exotic, which would make, like, the grind for exotics more fun again. But, like, it would also kind of raise, like, given that you can only put on one exotic at a time, like, you have at least one good statted gear, right? On that note, again, another thing. Masterworking an item should give you, like, say here, like, my third. Okay, no, let's go with this. Yeah, so my third stat is health, like the extra, like, random stat. When you masterwork it, it should give you a fourth stat with the same amount of stats as your third stat. just randomly. And that would kind of ease a lot of the stats. Like if these two things weren't masterworked, I'd have 0 in melee, which would mean like there'd basically be no energy, and it would take 10 years to essentially come back up. And that just feels I'm being unfairly punished for, like, okay, I need this for a build, but that shouldn't mean that everything else just sucks ass. I should be able to at least hit 50 on other things without investing into them. Like, not all other things. I know everything will at least be 25, and some things should be like, because the super takes so long to charge, and it's just a bit frustrating right now, because one, like, if I want to play like a class and weapons, for example, a class and weapons based build, I have to like invest in class and weapons. Those are the two stats, and I'd like my grenade back at a reasonable time. I'd like my melee back at a reasonable time. But like having things so low down just makes it like it's really difficult to, like, especially since now like all cooldowns and stuff are tied to it. I can't even supplement stuff like before. I could, for example, say I could dump my grenade stat, but because I had demolitionist and devour, say on a void build, I could supplement that. Like I could essentially make up for the fact that my grenade wasn't good while still investing in, say, class or something. But I can't do that anymore because um, I just like you can only invest in two things at a time, and that feels and like everything else just goes down to the dumps essentially, and that just feels bad. I'll be honest. So one, with the armor, we need more archetypes, and we need a fourth stat when masterworked. That I feel like that would really help. And like, I'm sure like them min maxers would find a way to break the game with this, but like I mean, they're just like 1% of the population essentially anyway. So let them have their power fantasy as well. But the not like us, like just normal regular people shouldn't essentially have our power fantasy ripped away because only the like top 1% should be able to experience the essentially power fantasy. And yeah, that's my suggestions for armor. Weapons are fine. I think they are like tiered weapons are good. More tiers, you get higher stuff. That's fine. I think weapons on the whole are great. They've done a good job with how weapon tiers work. Armor tiers are what I have the more of an issue with. And yeah, that's loot over with. Weapons. On the note of weapons, actually, primary weapons need to be buffed. As I said before, they hit like a wet noodle in harder activities, and they just don't feel as good to use. It feels like, okay, when I run out of abilities and like special or heavy, the game doesn't feel good to play anymore. While like there was a time, I don't remember like what time it was, but like where primaries actually felt really good, but that time isn't there anymore. It really feels like, okay, it's kind of like a last resort or something that's just doesn't feel as fun. So yeah, primaries need to be buffed, I feel. while we're at it, while we're just looking for things that need to be changed, I feel that when going through my when going through my vault, there should be like there's got to be more types of sorting. Like if they could do like what they did with Dim and add like a weapon sorting with kinetic, and then like that would be fucking fantastic. If I could sort by weapon or sort by um, element, and of course split into the three slots. I like that would be just really great. Yeah. What else? Sorry, I have like a bunch of notes up on my second screen for things that I have to talk about. Yeah. It's a bit. Yeah, I'd like more loadouts, but that's just because I have like a bunch of ideas for, or at least there are more loadouts that I'd like to use on a more regular basis without like having to mess with everything. But again, those are all minor things. And while we're asking for minor things, please allow like Thorn, like any poison kills to give remnants, because it's Thorn. I love using Thorn, but using it with necrotic grips means I don't get the remnants, and that's not nice. But yeah, anyway. Okay. I've gotten off track even from the fucking like notes that I've had. Yeah, I feel like with those changes that I've suggested, this would be a great like expansion. I really like that they've sort of shifted things from the ground up, kind of like changed things around, kind of like a soft Destiny 3 essentially, without like actually having to launch Destiny 3. The way things work, this is great. They had to do this at some point, but the way they've done it, not the best. Portal, great, needs a bit of work. You need to add dungeons to it. Modifiers, loot. We need a bit more loot. We need a bit more like a consistent way of getting more loot or less loot, and with the modifier system that I explained before, with these modifiers giving you higher tier loot while having a separate power modifier which gives you more quantity of loot. That way you can sort of control the difficulty that you want to play at. So you could go for like the highest difficulty, which would get you a lot of high tier loot. Or you can be like, okay, it's okay. I'd rather like play at a higher difficulty to get more loot, or like play with more modifiers, which is, in my opinion, a more fun type of difficulty, and get higher quality loot. I feel like playing around with these things, these things are more fun. Playing with power level, that is less fun. Like just having more in number is less fun than having like interesting modifiers. Like, okay, match game is less fun, but still, like you get what I mean, right? And yeah, props on the story. Story was fantastic. I love the story. Yeah. Oh, and it would be really nice if they could increase the speed of Matter Spark in Kepler. Like if you're going to replace my Sparrow or Surfboard, if you will, they need to be at least as fast as it, because it feels so slow. Yeah. So that's about it. Let me know what you guys think of it. Think of like my proposed changes. What you guys thought of Edge of Fate? Like, you guys think it's good, bad, ugly, whatever? Let me know down in the comments below, or like like, share, subscribe. Probably, hopefully, I'll be doing more of this soon. But yeah. thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope this didn't get too ranty. See you guys next time.